Today I'm at right outside the Galleria Mall near the Belgrade waterfront in Belgrade, Serbia. Thought I'd tour around it, take a look at the waterfront, go in, check out this, looks to be a pretty big mall, and talk about why I moved to Serbia this year. So number one, the main reason that I moved to Serbia was because I can. So I have a US passport, and because of everything that's going on in the world right now, a lot of countries that are normally open to my passport are now closed. And so there were really only probably about 40, maybe 50 countries that I was interested in going to right now, number one. Number two, that were open to my passport without having to get visas, which I'll explain in a second. And then third, because my wife, who's traveling with me, has a different passport from mine, this country allowed her to come in as well, visa-free. And I don't mind getting visas, I really don't. It's the problem with getting visas is I'm not in the United States, and a lot of countries require me to actually be in the United States or somewhere that I have permanent residency in order to apply for the visa. So I really don't want to have to go all the way back to the United States, apply for a visa just so I can go into a country. That's a pain in the butt, not something I'm interested in doing. So it was open, Serbia was open, and that was really, really nice. The second reason that I wanted to come to Serbia was because of the location. Location. Serbia is located in such a way that it's really easy to get to other parts of Europe and to use as a home base to go explore those, because you have flights coming out of the Tesla airport going to various locations throughout Europe. Can get over to Turkey if I want to, and the flights are very reasonable as far as prices go, traveling regionally, reasonable prices when I'm traveling regionally. Also, you have buses, if you really want to go the cheap route, to where you can go very inexpensively and hop over to another country. You can do that in some cases for, 20 euros, sometimes probably less, depending on what country you're going to. You also have the railroad system that is interlinked up with the rest of Europe. And so if I want to get a Eurail pass and go that route, or I want to just buy a ticket, go to another country, change out trains and ride those going around Europe, then Belgrade was a really good location out of Eastern Europe to do that. Now, this portion of my trip, I was really going to be exploring mostly Eastern Europe, because I used to live in London, and so I've seen pretty much all of Western Europe, but I wanted to see Eastern Europe. And Serbia was one of 3 countries really that were right on my top of my list of places that I wanted to stay in and I wanted to spend some time in. Obviously, well, not obviously, but I also wanted to go to the Ukraine, Kiev, Ukraine, which is much northern than here, but would be a good place to home base for the northern part of Eastern Europe. Belgrade has, and this is the third reason, has a tremendous history behind it. I've always been a history geek as far as wanting to go see different churches, different cathedrals, different fortresses, different ruins, anything that had to do with history. And in Belgrade and in Serbia in general, you have access to history going back over 1,000 years, thousands of years. going back to the Roman Empire, going back to the Byzantine Empire. You have the Ottoman Empire's influence here, the Austro-Hungarian influence here. And you see it in different parts of architecture and in culture throughout this country. And it really is, I didn't know you could drive on this thing. This is right outside the mall, and there's like, I don't think that's a road, but we'll see how far he gets along there. I know there's actually barriers back there that prevented you from going any farther. I'm not even sure how he'll turn around. So interesting things that you see walking around. By the way, here's the outside of the mall, if I hadn't shown you. So that's really the more detailed version of why that I moved here. My original plans, my plans right now were to stay here for 3 months to do kind of a home base so I could hop around to different areas of the Balkans, see all of the different countries. I'm very much interested in traveling to every place that used to be part of Yugoslavia, and all the different republics that were members of that. Serbia obviously being the heart of that empire, which is one of the reasons you want to stay in Belgrade. Plus all the culture and all the other stuff that you see here. But my main plan was move here 3 months. I'm allowed to come in for 90 days as a tourist and kind of see all of the sites, which I'm trying to do. I'm going to see as much of it as I can. I think in 3 months I can see most everything that I'd wanted to see. And then my original plan was actually to come when I left the United States. I was actually going to go to Mexico for a month, down to the Cancun, to the Riviera, and just take a huge 1 month vacation, just for me playing around with in the ocean. And then I was going to hop over to Belgrade, and this literally was going to be my first leg of the trip, my first 3 months on this journey. And when I was getting ready to book my tickets to come here back in the spring, and all of a sudden we had a change. Serbia up to that point had been just wide open as far as with all the conditions and everything that's going on with the world, and they started imposing more restrictions. Some of those restrictions at that point was that you had to get tested before you could actually come into the country. And I wasn't sure how things were going. I was afraid it was going to go into lockdown. And the flights coming out of Mexico coming here had like doubled in a week. So I had to change my plans, ended up going to another place for the first 3 months of my trip, and delayed coming to Serbia, which was, again, that was my ultimate goal, was to get here as far as the European leg of my trip, and at least start here for that 3 months. And then if I have to leave for 90 days, then I could come back in for another 3 months after that and see the rest of it, of anything that I hadn't seen. So in this world, you got to be flexible. In these times, you've got to be able to adjust and move and adapt. So I came here, I think I came to Belgrade at a really good time. I was in the summer here where it was really, really hot, and I'll be here down through the fall, which I expect will be really, really nice on there. So anyway, and right across from this mall, this is kind of me chasing a squirrel, but they've got this huge flag on this building. I don't know if it's under construction or not, but it's the Serbian flag. I don't know if you can see that from this distance, but I find it really, I like to see countries that are very proud of their heritage. They're very proud of the country they are. And you see so many Serbian flags all over Belgrade. There seems to be so much pride and nationalism here, of being very proud to be Serb, and celebrating their history. And that's a good thing, in my opinion. I come from a place to where they're trying to destroy and forget their history, even if some parts of it are unpleasant. And it's good to see the nation that is actually proud of who they are and embracing who they are as a culture. And I'm glad there's still some places like Belgrade, Serbia in the world. All right, well, I think that is going to be me signing off for this video. Other than I may stay on a little bit and show you a little bit of the mall inside. That'd be probably a good use of my time out here, and maybe show you something that you haven't seen before.